Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video day, and today the Los Angeles Lakers have signed Marcus Smart to a 2-year, $11 million deal. Not super surprising that the Washington Wizards ended up buying out Marcus Smart. I kind of expected that, but I honestly didn't expect him to go to the Los Angeles Lakers. I know he had a lot of other interests. The Knicks had interest. I know the Kings had interest at times. That was reported early in the offseason. The Kings had interest, and it looked like the Bucks had interest as well. But Smart ends up with the Lakers, and you could thank Luka for this because the Don ended up recruiting Marcus Smart. And honestly, I look at the Marcus Smart edition, and it takes me back to Dorian Finney-Smith, and I think, look at how much they really lost with Dorian Finney-Smith. You might not think, Dorian Finney-Smith, he doesn't even average 10 points per game with the Lakers. Maybe he averaged double digits with the Nets, but he didn't average 10. Some people who just look at the box score might think that Dorian Finney-Smith doesn't bring much value. But Dorian Finney-Smith's defense is one of the best in the league. It is top tier. And his three-point shooting. And that is why they just lost him by, losing him to my favorite team, the Houston Rockets, who just gave him a massive payday. And why I bring up Dorian Finney-Smith is because when you lose a defender like Dorian Finney-Smith, who is a great defender and just puts that kind of impact defensively for a team, you need to find a way to replace that. And I think the Lakers are doing a great job by replacing that with a guy like Marcus Smart, who is a 3-time all-defensive team and was the Defensive Player of the Year in the 2021-22 season. That is another great defender right there. Now, I don't know if we're going to get into a conversation of who's the better defender between Smart and Dorian Finney-Smith. That very well might be Smart. But again, who was on the Lakers last year? That was Finney-Smith. And they lost him, and now they are replacing him with Marcus Smart. That is a great way to replace a good defender. Now, on replacing his three-point shooting, Marcus Smart doesn't really do that. He can be a good shooter at times. I'm not going to say he isn't. He can be average. I would say he's average. He shot 39% with the Wizards and then 32% with Memphis. So it was nearly 35% of the season, a little bit over 32% in his career. At times he can be really good. At times he can be really bad. But they didn't replace Dorian Finney-Smith. They didn't replace Dorian Finney-Smith's shooting with Marcus Smart. But they did replace Dorian Finney-Smith's shooting with Jake LaRivia from the Memphis Grizzlies and Sacramento Kings, who is a great three-point shooter. Also, keep in mind, Jake LaRivia and Marcus Smart, former teammates in Memphis with each other. And now they're both reunited with each other in the Los Angeles Lakers. And they were the two guys that Memphis shipped away this offseason. Shipped away Jake to Sacramento and Smart to Washington. And, so they sent both of those guys away, and now they're both reuniting with each other in LA. I feel like those are the two ways to replace Dorian Finney-Smith. You replace Dorian Finney-Smith shooting with Jake LaRivia, and you replace Finney-Smith's defense with Marcus Smart. Honestly, I don't know who you'd rather have. Would you rather have Smart and LaRivia than Dorian Finney-Smith, because Dorian Finney-Smith is a great player, but there is no talking about would you rather have, because he's gone. He's signed a deal with the Rockets. I feel like the Lakers have done a really good job of replacing him with adding in LaRivia and Smart. And then you can look at the other addition they added in, bringing in Jackson Hayes back and DeAndre Ayton. So they only lost Dorian Finney-Smith, did a solid job of replacing him. I don't think the Lakers have pushed a needle at all where I think they've got better. Maybe they've got better a tiny bit, but they definitely haven't, in my opinion, got worse. I think probably a little better, not a lot better. I don't look at them and say, they're a championship team, but I don't think they've got worse. And with them having a big free agent this offseason like Dorian Finney-Smith, with them, there were a lot of things that could have potentially made them a lot worse team this year. And if LeBron James stays in put, if they don't trade LeBron, this is a team that is a tiny bit better than they were last year. And they were, top 4 seed in the Western Conference last season. So let me know your thoughts on the signing for the Lakers, bringing in Marcus Smart, former Defensive Player of the Year. Let me know your thoughts on them bringing him in. This video, if you guys enjoyed, and peace out.